Target Trading Academy.
Good afternoon, everybody. Preston Vogl here with Target Trading Academy with today's Micros Market Recap. Let's get straight into it. Today is February 2nd. It is 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time here. Oil starting us off here. We opened higher than the close from yesterday. Pretty much had a ton of selling step in. Granted, that's a whole hour difference right there, so it was pretty slow in terms of participation. They're potentially waiting for news, but the news that came around didn't do a whole lot. There were some large buying bars, especially in the micros here, but in the minis it seemed pretty normal. Regardless of all of that, our HVA levels were hugely successful today, as they usually are. And if you haven't seen our videos that Pat puts out with our wins, losses, and break-evens, go check those out. These levels are given to our students the night prior. But ultimately, we finished the day in oil within a few ticks from the close yesterday, so no real net change. Now, gold here opened above its close from yesterday as well. We did find a floor. There's just not a lot of participation right now in micro gold, but with the information that we can see, we did finish net positive compared to yesterday. Now, our equities, they did open well above their close from yesterday as well. So a lot of these markets were opening gap up, which is fine. We have methodologies that take into consideration those things. They're not going to be free. I'm not going to talk about those. But regardless, we opened up, gap up from the close of prior day, and we found support. And then the buyers kind of stepped in, but they just faded out as the sellers really were anxious to get towards that close, it seemed, or towards the range from yesterday, what have you. But you can see that our level that we have, our HVAs held tremendously. That second one really paying off a lot for the students who are using these methodologies and levels. We did ultimately dip down a little lower, but in the end, the buyers put the pedal to the metal, and what it always seems like the afternoon these days, the markets just tend to melt up, and that's the normal. Once they start going, they just seem to not want to stop, regardless of, the sellers or any consumer sentiment that's involved. For no sense or rhyme or reason, they just seem to melt up. But we did finish the day slightly above our close. We did have that melting up that I had mentioned, but towards the end of the day, that selling really kicked in, and it brought us back down to just below where we opened and just above where we closed yesterday. So for the most part, we did have a very parabolic day. None of this, one-sided participation on either direction that we had seen last week a lot of, but we did finish on a net positive in the ES here, micro ES. Now, Nasdaq, not the same story. It's a little bit more interesting. It did open inside or just at the high portion, maybe just a little bit gap up from yesterday's range. I believe it was on the more so the gap up, but not terribly far. But it immediately went towards that body of movement from yesterday, that range, and so we set a high, and then the markets made a body of volume, and then at the end they just melted down, and we didn't get lower than yesterday's low, but we got pretty low. We were pretty high, and it looked like we were going to break out potentially for the day. But in the end, the sellers really stepped in, and you can see these large bars here as they just finished us off here for the day. That is a ton of selling that just happened there. I usually am done around, a couple back there, but you can see with this period finishing out, it looked like we were going to finish net higher, but ultimately they drove it down. So not the same story as the ES. It was a little bit of a mixed market, you could say, but in the long run, we are positive in the ES and down in Nasdaq. If you guys have any questions or are interested in figuring out where to get these levels for your day trading, for your ventures in futures markets, feel free to reach out to us. We are Target Trading Academy. You can find us on Facebook or go to our website at targettradingacademy.com. Get in touch with the representative there, and they'll gladly show you the ropes to our rooms, what we do, and who we are. And you'll quickly realize why we are the #1 trading education company in the world and why we have so many live profitable students in our room. Again, if you haven't checked out Pat's videos, Patrick Assalone's videos that he releases every day about the winners, losers, and break-evens for that day's trading endeavors based off of these HVAs that we give our students the night before, go check those out. We look forward to hearing from you.